welcome to the Trade Show. I'm your host, Kieran Stewart, and we've got a good one today. We've got something for the Brighton fans. We've got a little bit of England talk. We're going to be checking up on the England team, seeing what that's saying. Even do a fun bit in a couple of weeks' time, or when it gets closer to the Euros, especially. I want to do like a little who's going to get in the squad and all that. That should be quite fun. But first of all, we're going to go to. Oh, first of all, let's say hello to everyone. First of all. Simon, how you doing, Simon? Good. And Nathan, how you doing? Love it. Here we go. Jerome, how you doing, mate?
Fine.
All right. He thought he was going to leave me hanging there. And how you doing, Steve?
Teacher's pet.
I'm fantastic, mate.
Good.
Watched some fantastic football matches today. Plenty of goals.
Oh, yes.
You've got me watching golf.
Plenty of
Shut up.
Plenty of goals and some heart, some pain in the chest for any Arsenal fans. But first of all, we're going to go to Nathan. Nathan, FA Cup game today against Leicester City didn't go too well. Ended up 3-1. What happened today? No, muted. Yeah. No. All right. It was just here. Sound was working. All of a sudden, go on. No. Let's try it again. All right. The Manchester gods do not want Nathan to speak. They do not want him to say any bad words about Man United, and I'm sure he won't. I'm sure he has constructive criticism about Man United's game today. They had games during the week. I think it was a Europa League game against Milan. Very good win. We'll talk about that as well. And Nathan's back now.
Hello.
There we go. Boom. Sweet. He's back in the game. Yeah. Nathan, we'll start with today's game. 3-1 loss against Leicester. What happened?
Today, we picked the wrong side. The minute I saw the starting lineup and I saw Matic along with Lindelof and Maguire, it's one of them ones where I've said all along, if you don't have the legs to protect those two at the back, you're going to struggle. And I just felt Vardy's going to have a field day. Iheanacho, because he's on fire at the minute, he's going to do something as well. And it just was playing into their hands. We played into their hands. And it just felt like it was open. Look, Tielemans isn't fast. He's very slow. And he did a 1-2 around Matic, and he was about 10 yards ahead of him after the 1-2. And then Matic was jogging back, couldn't get back, and Fred had to try and fill in for him. And that's how he scored that goal. But man, they had chances. They could have won, on another day. If they did things a bit better, it could have been 4 or 5. And it wouldn't have been, out of the question. So we just won't.
Well, Leicester were gifted an early goal in the 24th minute. Playing out the box, I mean, that's not a problem. A lot of people talk about the playing out the box and teams shouldn't do it. And I mean, it's nonsense. They're professional footballers. Yeah. But the pass back from Fred was soft, and I can't really blame Dean Henderson, but it was never going to get to it, and it was an easy tap in for Iheanacho there. What was going on?
I think Maguire's looking at the play. He sees Fred's under pressure. He sees there's really no one to pass to. He should have just got rid of it, but instead he puts Fred under more pressure, and then Fred takes a bad touch and tries to pop it back soft enough for the keeper to hit it. But there's already someone in between the goalkeeper and him. So he was the one. The minute if that wasn't a perfect ball, and it wasn't, and they just rounded the keeper. Iheanacho is gifted with a tap in really, and that was just a silly mistake from Maguire, I say, and then an even more bad touch and pass from Fred. So 2 people at fault there. Should have just got rid of it, but you live and die by it, don't you? When you start trying to pop it around at the back all the time, you're gonna get hit once in a while, and that's what happened.
Nice goal by Mason Greenwood. But and then you must have thought you was going to get back in the game at that point.
Yeah, because that's the first piece of good play we did, and a bit of imagination in the box. One letting it run, then Van der Beek letting it run, and Greenwood slotting it in. I was thinking, finally, we got something going. But again, you're looking up front and you're thinking, the combinations are just not right. Martial's on his own. Pogba's trying to do, he can't do much more than he's doing. Greenwood's kind of isolated out on the right. Everyone's like isolated, and it's just like, this is not, the combination of team you want going forward or defensively. We're gonna lose. That's all I see. Watching the game, just thinking we are going to lose this game. It's all in their hands. Leicester looking tight. That's how they play. They're comfortable. Everyone's in position. Everyone's doing what they're supposed to do, and it could just look like they were going to beat us, and they did. So no qualms there. I wasn't even surprised.
Yeah. And Donny van der Beek gets the game. Did he make any difference? Did he have a stake a claim for maybe a start in the team at some point?
No, nothing happened in attack really. Nothing happened in attack. None of the players. I was even looking at the bench thinking, who do you bring on and who do you change? The only thing I could see was an obvious glaring thing was McTominay needs to come on for Matic because he's got no legs to move around to basically stop them from doing their stuff. But in terms of attacking play, it's like we need Dan James. I wouldn't thought I'd be saying it, but he's actually a person who's more on form than the others, and we need his width. Even though he's not got that extra quality when he gets on it and stuff, he makes people have to stay honest. Run at you, and they have to be running. They have to be careful not to get forward. But it's like, I don't know. When we're playing the way we're playing, you got to kind of have James in the squad now at the moment in the starting lineup. So it's a bit disappointing that we can't use some of the other players and rest them. Some players like Shaw even. Now I'm looking at it thinking, damn, bring Shaw back in. Shaw's looking good. Obviously, Tellez did okay going forward, but a few times he made some challenges. I thought, what are you doing? Like, he made a slide tackle, slided the grass, didn't even go near the play at one point. I was like, huh? What are you doing there? So,
is that because he's not been playing? Because Shaw's kept his shirt, so Tellez has not really had a sniff.
Yeah, it's what happens when Shaw's upped his game so much, and then you're not playing as Tellez. You're not playing every week. You're going to come in and be a bit rusty, and that's what it was. And, there's too many rusty players. But again, it's square pegs in round holes all over the pitch. We've got a balance to a team that we've got. And he's found a way to be really strong defensively if you've got all these defensive players on and just about get away with getting enough going forward against the lesser teams to basically get your wins and your draws. But, man, we do need to get those extra few quality players in to really make us better going forward and then keep us the same defensively, if you get what I mean. We have that extra man in attack and still the same at the back because we've got another player who can defend one-on-one. We're going to be all right. But until then, it's like fast forward next year. I want to see who we bring in so we can make these changes and make these improvements. Then we're going to be looking at, right, what's Ollie doing now? What's he going to do? So,
that's when you could probably question when he's got the full squad at his disposal. But you got a much needed win in midweek against a very tough AC Milan squad team. Paul Pogba getting the winner. Must be good to get through to the next round there.
Yeah, it's great to get through to the next round, especially going away to San Siro and seeing them boys playing well and knowing that if Ibrahimovic comes off the bench, it's going to be a struggle. And we started off really sloppy, really bad first half. And I'm looking at it going, they're just going to get a goal. We're cruising for them to go get a goal again. Pogba comes on, shows a little bit of magic. And what do you know? We get the one goal that we needed. And then, we start thinking that we can play like that now from then on. And that's what led us into today. But as for that game, second half, we upped it. We just needed to pass the ball quicker. And that's what he did. He came on and we started doing a few one-touch passes. That's what opens up defenses. When they try and shut you down and you pop and you get around them next minute, you now overload them. But when you pass, you hold on to it for 5 touches, then pass, then again holding on. No, everyone's set. The whole defense, the whole midfield is always set. And that's what's wrong with United at times. They just sit with it and take too many touches. And it's like, Ollie, please let them know that they can't be taking touches like this because it's going to kill us. So,
But sometimes when I'm watching Man United play, I'm seeing like very slick, very tidy play, and it's at pace as well. So I'm not sure why that would change, especially considering you had such great form doing that kind of thing previously. How has that changed? Why has that changed?
that happens because what we always talk about is having your structure of play, knowing how you have to play. Like you have to have a certain framework. I still don't think we have a framework. I just think we're used to playing with each other and we're kind of getting to know each other a bit more. But then still, if you're playing off the cuff, you're going to sometimes not move because you don't know that's the move I have to make. When he's got the ball, I need to make this run. So then when that player makes that run, then I need to make a run off what he does. And then this person, and that's how it works. You just work off what the other person's doing and you're doing the other run that you're told to do. But with United, it looks like if no one moves, that's it. You're sitting there going, just make a move. It's not make your move in that way or that way. It's just make a move. And that's off the cuff. That's what called off the cuff is. That's why you get United playing great games, great football at times. Then times you see them playing the way they played today, the way they played first half of Milan, just the way it is. And
you got what we should be classed as not an easy because there's no easy games in Europe, but you got Granada in the next round. You got to be looking to go through there. No issues. Easy win. I said not easy, but easy. Like that's got to be that's not a buy. We're not saying it's a buy, but it's a buy to the next round.
We need to get the first goal. If we can get the first goal, or
they're in the semis,
then I feel we're all right. We need two. We get two, and we're 2 up at any stage in that tie. We'll win it. But seriously, when we're favourite, we're just not really doing anything. So I'd rather we just was underdogs. I'd rather we played someone tough. But to be fair, that means hopefully we got a good chance to get to the next round. And then we might play. Obviously, we already know we got as well after that. So to be fair, we got a good run. And hopefully we get to play you guys in the final. Hopefully, if we can all do our jobs.
Nah, we don't want to play you in the final.
Roma. We're getting Roma.
We don't want to play you in the final. We're not good with. We're not.
100% I play Man United. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, 100%. They've not scored against us. And Arteta's beaten him every single time with tactics and substitutions. Yeah,
but I'm pretty sure Emery's record against Chelsea was.
I'd rather play Man United
good.
in final than Tottenham. Obviously, they're not in it anymore, but you know what I mean.
Well, that's yeah. I mean,
I think it's weird.
Rather play them than Real Madrid.
You know what's weird though, Si? I think the same. Like when we got to if we played Arsenal in the final, I'd still be a bit wary because we played you recently and we haven't really done well. And I'm like, if we play, we better be on our game. We can beat them if we're on our game, but are we going to be on our game? That's what I'm worried about. It is a tough one, and I could see why you'd be confident, to be fair.
Villarreal, Ajax and Rome, Villarreal and Dynamo Zagreb, Ajax and Roma, Man United and Granada, and Arsenal Southern Park. I mean, it's touching distance. It's touching distance to a final. I try not to think about it. Because
I'm hoping we smash them.
I'll end up broken-hearted. I will happily take a dirty win through every game we play to that final to win. I don't care how we play. I don't care about smashing anyone, mate. I just want to win. I just want to get into the Champions League.
I only want to smash them for what their players have done with Rangers. That's why I want to really. I want to hurt them. Yeah, I want to hurt them.
Yeah,
I can understand we've been fans because you see it all the time, but it was the players.
Yeah,
it was the player that did it, and that's what's more disgusting about it. So I want us to play them home and away, which we are gonna, and smash them, absolutely embarrass them.
Yeah, hopefully we do. And just as we say that, we have Richie Mills joining us from Football London. How you doing, Rich?
It's Marcus. Can't speak. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good stuff. Still buzzing off Brighton's win last night over Newcastle. So
yeah, an excellent game. Okay, let's start with that. Was it a 3-1 victory?
Yeah,
3-0 victory. Got some goals, clean sheet. How's it feel?
Great. I mean, Brighton. Basically, if you looked at the expected points table, which is basically kind of based off of the number and quality of chances that you create, Brighton would be 5th. Like nothing. So like they just don't take their chances. But it's not just one person; it's a collective thing. So that was why yesterday when I was at the Amex, I was just like, "What?
Finally,
1, 2, 3, yeah." So, and this is the second time they've beaten Newcastle 3-0 this season. So it's literally, can we play you every week?
And should have beaten us as well start of the season as well. So
they did very, very, very unlucky. It was a penalty miss, wasn't it? That was the decider, or a penalty that was decided. Neil Morphy gave away that penalty, wasn't it? The handball.
Yeah, so that was actually my first game that I covered for Brighton. It was just so weird, like, the full-time whistle doesn't mean anything anymore. Like, they've blown the whistle, you think the game's over, and then they go, oh, no. So, yeah, that was nuts. In the end, I think it was the right decision. Mopo went,
But what a game for your first game, because Brighton played excellent in that one as well.
Yeah, they hit. I think they broke a record for hitting the woodwork 5 times. The first time I think since 2006, Cristiano Ronaldo. So, yeah, and then Leandro Trossard hit an unlucky hat trick because he hit the woodwork 3 times. So, yeah, they were all over Man U that game, dominated possession and chances, and then they came away with nothing. So, yeah, and that's the next game that they've got start of April. So yeah, that should be interesting. All
right. Let's get to it then. I've got loads of questions on Brighton, man. Graham Potter's taken over from Chris Hughton. What have you seen the major differences has been since he's taken over?
So I think towards the end of Chris Hughton's reign, which was very successful, he got them promoted from the Championship. And he kept them up. They were comfortably clear, maybe 5 or 6 points clear of the relegation zone. But towards the end, I think it was just becoming a bit not that easy on the eye. They were quite maybe a bit defensive, not that attacking, maybe set piece reliant. But then when Graham Potter came in, I mean, people call it Potterball. Well, Brighton fans anyway. It's all about passing out from the back, just possession, and it's just people there's almost like different camps in the Brighton fan base of like, wow, we're playing this amazing football, and then there's other kind of maybe more pragmatic side who go, yeah, but we still need the wins, we still need the points. So and it was squeaky bum time a couple of games ago when they were ahead of Fulham by goal difference, and now they're 6 points clear. So I think whenever they kind of win, everyone goes, oh, Graham Potter's a genius and stuff like that. But then when they have, against Crystal Palace over 2 games, they had, I think, 45 shots on goal, and they scored 1, and Palace had fewer than 5, and they drew 1-0 and won 2-1. So it was just a classic example of just sitting back and not being able to break them down. So, yeah, I definitely think it's in terms of if they can stay up, they're definitely building for the future. They've got a long-term plan to be a top 10 club, established top 10 club, and they've brought through some really good players. So, yeah, in terms of the changes, it's almost like night and day.
So you'd say your objective for the seasons is probably survival year in, year out. What's the next step? How do you achieve the next step? What's the best route to go? How do you achieve that?
So I guess so last season was the most amount of points they've had in the Premier League. It was 41. That was the record they set. So I guess the next step would obviously to get a bit more. But what they've done, and we can maybe come to this a bit later, but is they've got these young, exciting players like Tarek Lamptey, Yves Bissouma, Ben White. These are guys who were reportedly linked with big 6 clubs now. And I think what's changing over time is the fact that Brighton are now producing these very good, exciting players, and then they'll sell them on, and then they'll reinvest, and that's the plan. And we're already seeing some of the signings have been brought in to maybe to fill the gap. So I think They definitely need a striker, like I mean, how much does it cost to get a 10, 15 plus goal scorer these days? But
yeah,
I think that will be the next step. But they've definitely laid the foundations to really kick on.
All right. We're quickly going to go to a half-time update for the Tottenham game with Abby Summers. How you doing, Abby?
Hey, I'm okay.
I'm doing good. Tottenham winning 1-0. How's the game going?
How's the game?
Mourinho says.
We're winning. So I guess it can't be that. Lucas Moore has been the driving force, I feel, for anything good today. I think he's really made a statement on his attitude. Not that I think that anyone really doubted his attitude. Other than that, I think defensively, we've looked a little bit at times. I think Sanchez has been. I think there's a lack of leadership back there. It's like literally someone's thrown 4 people together, and it's like let's just try it and see how it goes. But look, it's so far so good. We're 1 up, clean sheet as it stands. Just need more second half. I feel like at any point, I feel like Villa could score, and we'll be talking about a totally different game. They've attacked us quite a lot, actually. I feel like so I actually think that goal's come against probably how I feel the game's gone. But yeah, I'm happy for Vinicius, even though it's another tap in. But a goal's a goal. Happy for him. It's his birthday. So I just feel like at the minute we've got to take any positive. That we're seeing. I don't think we've played particularly well. Not particularly bad either. So I'm happy. I'm trying to take positives.
I see you are trying and struggling a little bit. Like you're 1-0 up, you're winning. It's all good. I see this.
I think it's just. I feel like it's probably just not going to last, and I don't want to sound negative and pessimistic, but I just have a feeling it's probably not going to last.
You feel like the writing's on the wall for Jose and potentially the players have not given up, but they're not putting it in as much, maybe.
It's not that they're not giving up. Like I said, I don't doubt someone like Lucas Moura's attitude. Obviously, not people like that. But I just feel like we're probably we've invited it on quite a lot still, even though it's attacking team. I just don't feel like we have a complete. I don't think we're very dominant anywhere on that pitch for me. And I just think that you keep giving Villa chances, they probably will score at some point. I think obviously the saving grace is there's no Grealish. I think if Grealish is playing, I think we're looking at a totally different game. I think we're off lightly with that, especially the run that we've been on. I think we'll be talking about a different situation.
Yeah, well, they've had any shots on target, any shots on goal. So the defence is holding up well. It's like, as you said, it's kind of inexperienced which looks like Sanchez being the main figurehead in the centre too with Rodon. Predictions for the score? Do you think hopefully you can keep a clean sheet?
It's more about the fact that when we give them an opportunity, a free kick like that or a corner, I just don't believe that we're good enough to keep the clean sheet. I just don't. I think it'll end. I think we'll win. I'm just going to be positive and say that Spurs are going to win.
All right.
As for a clean sheet, I don't know. We can only hope. I'll be honest with you. I'm really happy to see the back of us after this. Great.
Wow, it's draining you. It's draining you. Yeah.
I was in such a bad mood. Like Arsenal was one thing, but I didn't foresee that scoreline happening. Most of us probably didn't.
I don't think anyone did.
No, and then
Stevie Wonder didn't see it.
As you go to Zagreb and have that happen, I just was in such a bad mood and bad state of mind about it. I genuinely think I only got over it probably this morning.
It doesn't sound like you got over it at all, to be honest. If I'm honest,
I'm over it a bit.
You know what's weird is I'm happy that you're getting a bit of the feeling that we had. What we had, now I know exactly how you feel.
I'm sick of the sight of them, to be honest with you. I just need a break. I think we all need. Like, just get out of my sight. I've seen them way too much this week.
It sounds like my mum. It sounds like my mum back in the day. Just don't look at me. Like, I'm sick of the sight of you. All right.
Well,
cool.
You don't have to see Eric Dyer, do you? He's not going to be playing for England, is he?
That's one saving grace that there was no Dyer in the squad. How he's managed to be I just don't know. Trent must be sitting at home thinking, "Are you joking? Like, how is this guy getting in the squad over me?"
It doesn't make sense.
Baffling. But hey, obviously Gareth Southgate sees something. Hopefully he doesn't see that same thing when it actually comes down to it in June. Otherwise, I think we're in for a tough ride.
We'll get to England later. I'm going to kill everyone's hopes.
We will get to England later. Abby, hopefully you're going to join us after the game. And for your sake and sanity, let's hope it stays 1-0 at least. All right.
Hopefully. Look, I don't care what the scoreline is as long as Spurs win, because obviously it does look a lot better. If we can win, you're in sixth. Obviously with that game in hand. So again, another small positive we can take if we win. All
right. We shall see you in 45 minutes then.
All right, guys. See you later.
All right. Speak soon. All right.
She'll be back at full time with red wine.
Yeah. Stress. It happens. It happens to all of us. I think everyone in this call right now has probably had to deal with that kind of stress. In the summer transfer window, Rich, Adam Lallana was brought in, and many may have thought that it was a massive risk with his injury record, and it must have scared a few Brighton fans when he was injured. I think it was his first or second game as well. Has that risk paid off though?
I'd say there's a good question. I'd say until recently it was kind of a touch and go, but the last 3 games he's been a different class. I mean, he finally got his first goal against Leicester a couple of weeks ago. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, he's been in and out of the team. He had a recurring groin issue, the worst time of which was in Brighton's first match against Liverpool in late November. He came on as a substitute in like the 50th minute and then went off like 8 minutes later with the same issue. So, but yeah, recently his experience, playing Champions League, England, he's been really, really valuable. He's been playing recently. He's changed from attacking centre mid to a more deep line role, and he's just been called as personified on the ball. Just everything that good that Brighton create goes through him, and it's good that he's been able to get a run of games completing full 90 minutes. So yeah, in terms of on paper, it would have seen, is that a bit of a gamble? Similar to Danny Welbeck, because he's also had lots of injury issues. I think between them, they've had close to 30 injuries over their careers, which is awful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say, I mean, free transfer. It was worth a punt, and I think it has paid off.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think he's played 23 appearances for Brighton now. So I thought it was a good calculated risk at the start in the summer, and then when I saw them injuries, I was a bit like, oh no. But as you said, he's starting to get some game time now, and hopefully they can carry that on for the foreseeable. You mentioned earlier about the likes of Ben White, who was on loan at Leeds last season. There's a few players in the team that clubs are looking at. Yves Bissouma, Lamperty, amongst others. How hard will it be to keep these guys in the summer?
That's a good question. So yeah, Graham Potter, the manager, has said a number of times that he's not worried about losing these players. I think he'd be happy for them if they do go on. And he says the kind of bit of the cliche, if a Real Madrid or a Barcelona comes in, it's going to be hard for us to turn it down. But for example, Brighton, there was a long transfer saga in the summer with Leeds trying to buy Ben White on a permanent deal. Mm-hmm. I think they had bids of like 20 million, 25 million, and 30 million, all rejected. So that was before he'd even played one game in the Premier League. Never played in the Premier League. He'd been playing at Newport, Peterborough, and then Leeds in Championship. So he was already, a very competent midfielder. And now there's talk of the likes of Manchester United, Liverpool, Spurs, Chelsea. Yeah. So his trust it if you're not. I think the Sun said 50 million had slapped on his head. I don't know.
Is he as good? Yeah. Is he as good as what everyone's saying? I mean, it's a big jump from Leeds in the Championship to Brighton in the Premier League, then to talking about playing for Liverpool. The consistency is the one thing you're going to need, definitely. Attributes is one thing, but consistency is the most important thing. Is he good enough?
So, I mean, as I say, this is his first season in the Premier League. So there's been lots of good signs from him in terms of he's not like your more traditional centre half, maybe like a Tyrone Mings or like a Harry Maguire, big, strong, powerful sort of thing, good in the air. He's more just very good anticipation, very technically gifted, really good awareness on the ball, maybe a more kind of modern centre back. But I mean, personally, I still think that Brighton's captain Lewis Dunk is a better defender at the moment. But Ben White is so versatile. He's played many times at defensive midfield. He was actually, I think, was man the match against Leeds in January from defensive midfield. But he's also played right wing back, left wing back, and then across the back three. So he's a very, very versatile player. But I mean, I don't think he's worth that much. But I mean, there's silly money these days, so I'm not sure. You just spoke about Lewis Dunk. Are you surprised that no one's really pressed to sign him? Because I mean, it's not even smaller clubs; it's the bigger clubs. When there's talk of a centre back, or even in an England team, Lewis Dunk is a name that's always thrown about. Are you surprised that no one's really pushed to get his signature? Yeah, I mean, I think he was Brighton's player of the season last year. He's been there. He's an academy product. He's been there for I think 10 years or so now. He's just a very dependable, reliable centre back. I think if you've got like another guy who's maybe like a bit quicker and a bit more technically able, then that would be a really good partnership. Someone like Konsa for Aston Villa, I think there's a good like complement each other. But I mean, Harry Maguire went for 80 million or something like that. It's.
Nathan will tell you what he thinks about Harry Maguire. He's not the real deal. He doesn't think.
I'd swap him for any of them too.
But yeah, I am surprised. I think Jose Mourinho a while ago said, I think this was through The Athletic. They alleged that there was a list of players that he could sign. And I think he was surprised that Dunk wasn't on that list from like the other people in top who would put forward centre backs. So yeah, he's just been a very dependable guy. His chesting ability is unreal. I mean,
you never hear that. It's just chesting ability.
It's almost like a boat could come to him and he just chested. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah, he's definitely. But I think with under the kind of the tutelage of Dunk, White can definitely progress. But I wouldn't be surprised if White did move on this summer, and then they could put that into maybe bring in someone else, or they've got a lot of guys who are younger. Sorry, not who are younger, but who are on loan, and then maybe might make the step up like what Ben White did this year.
Yeah. And another player I like the look of when he first hit the scene was Aaron Connolly. I watched him in the youth under 23s. He was too good for that. Like he was taking the mick. Like he was just running rings around players, shooting from everywhere, and he was just a standout star player at that level. When he come into the adult scene, he looked like he could really take the step up. But his progression seems to have slowed down. And I'd say it's not progressed quite as much as I thought he would. Would you say it's a fair assumption?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so I think he grabbed the headlines when he was maybe 19, and he scored a double against Spurs in the last games under Pochettino. Pochettino, sorry. And I think that's almost been the kind of the height. He hasn't hit those heights again. I think people were expecting him to kind of to continue that form, but I think he's played. I think he's coming up to like 50 games, and he's scored like 6 goals in all competitions. So it's not a great return. He has been pretty unlucky with injuries. Even this season, he's been out with like groin and hamstring issues, and then he had to miss Republic of Ireland internationals because someone near him in the squad tested positive for COVID. So then he had to miss out. And then he's had this this recent, I'm not sure if you've seen the news about this alleged lockdown breach.
Wow.
So, yes. So, it hasn't worked out for him. And also, he's fallen behind. So Neil Maupay's the Brighton's number one scorer, 8 goals this season. Then I'd say Danny Welbeck. Those two together seem to really work well. And now it seems like this young guy, the 21-year-old Andy Zakiri, may be ahead of him as well. But Connolly's still very young. He's only just turned 21. And he's got a lot of pace. He's good at running in behind. On his day, he can be, a very good player. But yeah, I think he just he needs to be given maybe a succession of games, and he hasn't really done that. He's also had a couple of shocking misses this season, but he is still a talent. Yeah.
I liked his rawness, and he plays like someone who's a kid who's playing on the playground who doesn't care, no rules. He was that kind of player. And he seems to have just lost his edge, but I hope he gets it back, because I think they've got a good talent there. Another talent that you've got in your squad, he joined in January, is Moses Caicedo. We've got a couple of guys from South America who spoke very highly of him, said he's the real deal and he could definitely do in England. I know he's only played a couple of games for the under 23s, but what's the noises coming out of Brighton saying?
Well, just a quick thing. I actually was staying in a hotel overnight after a game, and he was in the same hotel as me. And I lost all my professionalism. I go, Caicedo. And he was like, wait. And I was like, but yeah, that was good fun. But yeah, he's so one thing that people have speculated that he could be the successor to Yves Bissouma if Bissouma went. I think people are talking about Arsenal and Liverpool as the main ones, potentially as a replacement for Wijnaldum at Liverpool, and maybe supporting Partey at Arsenal. But yeah, Caicedo, he's only 19. And I think apparently he did a very good job against Messi when he was playing for Ecuador. He's played a few times for them. He's seen as like a big talent for Ecuadorian football, like sort of maybe beyond Antonio Valencia. Obviously, very different player. But he's really high sort of, and that's what's after. Manchester United and Everton and Newcastle will link with him, but apparently there was some complications in terms of lots of there was some problems with I think the agent. So a lot of people owned partners of him, but I think Brighton managed to get through those hurdles and sign him. But he's a really exciting talent. It'll be interesting to see if he gets any game time this season. I'd like him to, but yeah, not sure yet. He's just played, as you say, a couple of under 23 games, but he did look a little bit like Connolly, just cut above. Yeah,
he did. And another player that maybe not get as much in the limelight as some of the others is Leandro Trossard. Looks like a very good player. Might not sort of be appreciated unless you watch him week in, week out. How good's he? Because he's one that kind of slipped under the radar as a player that because wasn't massively well known, but every time I see him, it made my eyebrows raise. Like I've not heard of him before, and he looks quite silky, lovely little touch, lovely little flicks. How good is he? How good can he be?
Yeah, so it's funny. So going by like kind of fans on social media, he can be quite hit and miss. So there are times when you don't really see him play for much. Like he was getting criticism during the Southampton game, but they won 2-1, and then he just exploded into the game, scored a really good goal from a Danny Welbeck layoff, and then he was just his goal against Newcastle yesterday was fantastic. He ball over the top from Joel Veltman. He took it down with a beautiful touch, left his marker for dead, and then curled a beautiful shot into the corner from 20 yards. So yeah, he has that ability to just kind of explode onto the game, and he's got a very low center of gravity, like twisting and turning. He's quite elusive, deceptively quick as well. And so on his day, he can be a very good player. And I think he was signed from Genk or Gonk Sorry
Yeah,
if any
again.
Belgian listeners, sorry if I'm butchering the pronunciation. But yeah, so he's I think he was signed for around 15 million. But yeah, he's on his day he can be almost unplayable.
Yeah, and Neil Morphy, you were saying earlier about how goals seems to be a problem, and you're getting chances. Neil Morphy seems like the kind of guy who could probably get into double figures in the Premier League, but he was dropped up earlier on in the season through disciplinary. Was it? Is that more to do with attitude?
Yeah, so there was a lot of conflicting reports, and it was a row with a teammate after they drew 1-1 with West Brom, I think back in October, and then he was dropped for the Spurs game. And yeah, I think that someone reported that it was about attitude, but I don't think that was ever confirmed. And Brighton like to keep a lot of these things close to their chest. They just say, it's an internal matter and we've dealt with it. But so he was signed from Brentford in the summer of 2019 for 20 million, which is a joint transfer record fee for Brighton. Scored 10 goals, which is not a bad return. His expected goals was higher, and it's the same again this season, but he's on 8. So there are times when I would guess like most strikers, they go through hot and cold patches and stuff like that. But it's one thing that I would notice before the game, just to come for Newcastle. I think the difference between some of the lower teams is Newcastle, even though they were terrible last night, but they do have Callum Wilson, and he's I think the difference between they've got a guy who can get 10, 15 goals, whereas Fulham, Brighton tops 10. So that's why I'm not completely counting Newcastle out yet. But yeah, I think Mope's done a decent job. So,
but you need someone who can hit them 15s to really push you up the table. With the way that you play, you could be a steady Premier League team if you could get that player.
Yeah, 100%. It's just, the amount of chances they create and their conversion rate is pretty at times woeful. I mean, against West Brom, they missed 2 penalties.
That's not you can't. Especially when you're in the lower in the bottom half of the table, you can't be affording to miss 2 penalties.
Yeah, and then the problem is with Brighton. So I wasn't even sure that they beat Newcastle because, I mean, this season they drew with 10-man Sheffield United. They drew and lost to West Brom. They've had 2-0 draws with Fulham. They failed to beat Burnley both times. They've really struggled to beat teams around them if you just pat man behind the ball and say, try and come and break us down. I mean, if they can get like a really good striker in, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'll throw it back to you guys. How much does like a really, a 10, 15 striker cost these days, and how do you go about getting it?
I think Eddie Nketiah would be a good shout.
Yeah, but is Eddie Nketiah scoring 15 goals in the Premier League? I just don't think he is. I just think you're trying to get him off the Arsenal book side.
No, I think he'd be all right. I think he'd do all right. I'd get 10 goals at most, maybe more.
Yeah, but they've got Neil Maupay, they've got Danny Welbeck, and Neil Maupay's got 8. Like we're just saying, Brighton need a player who can score him 15 goals a season. I think what Brighton have done this season more is goals has been spread a bit more. But everyone needs that one who's going to be smashing in your main striker.
You want an Ivan Toney. That's what you want.
Yeah,
I was just about
to
to
get something like that.
Yeah.
Ivan Toney. And look at Aston Villa. They've got in Ollie Watkins. A lot of people would have completely dismissed Ollie Watkins before, but now that Aston Villa have got him and they've seen what he could do in the Prem, a lot of clubs are taking him, and now he's in the England squad. So Ivan Toney, great shout there, Steve.
28 goals and 9 assists this season as well.
Yeah,
very.
I don't think it's necessarily boils down to how much you're spending on that player either. It's just got to be the right player. I mean,
game time.
Brentford got him. What was it, Steve? 10 mil, just over 10 mil with add-ons.
Just over 10 mil, so it wouldn't cost that much.
Yeah, and if Brighton would have picked him up before then, I mean, probably would have had to pay more, but that would have been a great signing. I was just about to say, what do Brighton need to do in the summer? What positions do they need to get? And are they being linked with any players that you know of?
So yeah, I mean, loads of people saying Brighton should buy Tony, but I mean, I think Arsenal and others have been linked with him as well. So it might be, it might be priced out of his, for them. I think what will be interesting to see is if they can hang on to Ben White and Yves Bissouma. I think Tariq Lamptey will probably not go because he's out for the season with a hamstring injury. He's been out with it since mid-December, and he had a couple of setbacks, and then he had to have surgery because I think they went down the physio route initially. But if they can keep on to them, that'll be a real statement of intent. But I do think they might try to get a striker. I don't know who. I mean, if Newcastle got relegated, I reckon lots of clubs would want to get Callum Wilson because I think he's a really good, dependable striker. But what Brighton do a lot of the time is they buy players who are young, maybe kind of maybe 18, 19, 20, 21, loan them out straight away, and then eventually they get a chance. So Ben White was an academy product, didn't play for years and years, finally made his chance, and they bought in the summer transfer window. They bought these two Polish internationals, Jakub Moder and Michael Kabarnik. The Kabarnik's 19, Moder's 21. Moder made his first Premier League start yesterday. It was very, very good. So they were loaned back initially after being bought, and then they were recalled in January. So I mean, I personally think Bissouma and White might go. And then some other players will step aside. I think Caicedo could be the kind of the heir apparent to Bissouma. There's a couple of guys in the Championship. Matt Clark, who was bought a couple of years ago. He's on at Derby. He's done very, very well. He could be a replacement potentially for White. But yes, I mean, the number one priority for me should be a striker, because the amount of chances that Brighton create, it's just begging for someone to stick them away.
That Crystal Palace game, that was mental. I thought they'd literally
nightmares.
They should have got so many goals, and then they just got sucker punched at the end. It was like daylight robbery.
So I was going to ask you: is there anyone in the youth ranks that you feel has the potential to come through and be one of the stars of the future?
Oh, that's a good question. So they actually got this this Irish guy called, I think, Ferg. He made headlines a couple of years ago because he played Chelsea in a pre-season game when he was 14.
Wow. Get your own on that.
He's just turned 16. Apparently, his physicality is nuts for that kind of age. He's a front man, so apparently big things are thought of him. They've got a striker called or winger called Danny Cashman. One to look out for. And then, I mean, so what? Just briefly, like Brighton. What's amazing about Brighton over the years is that not that long ago they were in League One, and they. I actually spoke to a former Brighton player called Dean Cox, and he kept them in. Well, he helped them stay in League One, and they used to play at the Withdean Stadium, which was just like an athletics track around it.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
and that was Gascoigne's last game, wasn't it? I think it was. Not last game, but he got him up in that pitch. I think it was. Yeah, and then and he was saying like the training pitches would always flood like Sussex Uni or something like that, and it was just like people would leave shirts and it'd be in the mud or whatever, and it was just horrible. But now they've gone to the Amex, which is a fantastic 30,000 seat stadium. Their training ground at Lancing is just phenomenal. So the progression they've done, and their youth team, the under 23s, are in Premier League too. They held. I think they've got 3 draws in a row. Chelsea, Man United, and Blackburn, who were second. So the progression that they've had is phenomenal, and that just goes back to the point of they are building slowly to become a top 10 team, hopefully. And a massive part of that is the youth. Yeah, it does seem like
Abrahams. What about Tammy Abrahams? Would he be someone that you would like at Brighton? Tammy Abrahams.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'd be. I do rate him. I think, but I don't know. I feel, and no disrespect to Brighton, obviously, but I just feel he will go for a fair amount of money. And I just don't know if that's in Brighton's kind of thought process, especially, all the losses due to COVID. I don't know. I'm not sure. If they sold someone for big money, then maybe. But I don't know. I mean, would you guys think Tammy would maybe take a little bit of a step down from Chelsea to a Brighton? Or
well, he wants to play football at the moment, and he's not playing football where he's the main striker. So when you look into the Premier League and you think, well, who needs a main striker? One of the first clubs that comes to your head is Brighton. So he might jump at the chance just to the fact that he lives in London. He's already said that he doesn't want to travel far from London. It's just Brighton for me would be a perfect fit, and he scores goals, and he's at an age in his Premiership experience. And the trouble is, you don't want to go for a player who's 90, because don't disrespect to Brighton. You're always sort of down that bottom side of the table. So bringing in Eddie Nikita or a younger player is not going to help you. I mean, just look at Ryan Brewster at Sheffield United. They paid 20 odd million.
20 million, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a wrong move for Sheffield United. I think Tammy Abraham's going to Brighton. I think would be an excellent move for Brighton, and I think it would be a good move for Tammy Abraham. But I just don't think he'd do it. Any team that Tammy Abraham would go to would be a step down from Chelsea, because I don't think top 4 or 5 teams are going to go in for him. So I think it would be one of the teams, maybe like a West Ham. But if they don't go in for him, then he will need to reevaluate and look to maybe look at them other clubs and look to think, I can bring those clubs up, because sitting around on the bench at Chelsea, and I don't really see Thomas Tuchel having him as his main striker, is gonna work for him. So I think it would be a good sign. I just don't think it would happen. That's just my opinion, though.
Can I ask a question to Nathan a second, please?
Go for it.
Go
on. Dave, obviously, you had an amazing partnership with Jason Roberts at Wigan. I just want to ask, and obviously no disrespect here, can I ask why you chose to move to West Brom? Did you, I guess because Wigan were maybe in the Championship for a while, and this was a big jump for them. Was it because West Brom were a more established team, or?
No. So I wanted to stay at the club, Wigan. I saw a lot of players leaving because they were getting pretty much like not given a contract that they could accept. I didn't think they'd do it to me, but when it came to me in my last year, we got to the Premiership, top scorer in the league. At this point, I was thinking, okay, well, I signed at the time in League Two with something in my contract saying if we get to League One, I get a new contract. So renegotiation. So because we got to League One, I went in for my renegotiation, but I had to have a shoulder up. So they said they're not giving me a new deal because I need a shoulder up. I can't negotiate for an injured player. So I was like, okay, fine, no problem. When I get fit again, we'll come back to the table. Go back to the table once I'm fit, and the chairman says, we're in a new league. No one's getting a new contract till we know how good we are. We might go down next year, so I don't want to give everyone new contracts. I said, okay, no problem. I'll prove myself in the Championship. That was the year it changed to the Championship. I'll prove myself in the Championship, then I'll get a new deal. So then obviously that season we just missed out on playoffs. Then the following season with Jason, we got automatic promotion. I have 1 year left on my contract in that season. We're going into the Prem. I've had 2 years of no new contract since winning the league with over 100 points, top scorer for the club, that every season since I've been there. And at the end of the season, we get to the Premiership. Chairman calls me in his office and says, you were crap from halfway through this season. I said, yeah, that's because the fell out. And I've basically I'm playing with half a shoulder again. But funny enough, I still managed to be top scorer in the whole league, so it can't be that bad. So, he basically tried to make me feel a bit bad about myself at the time, so he could maybe offer me a less of a deal or me to accept something less.
Right.
I was a bit upset with him then. I was upset with him saying, listen, I want an apology, man. You can't just call me in without my agent and talk to me like this. And this is wrong. Listen, just give me a deal and I'm happy. you know, and having and think about the 2 years that you didn't give me a new deal, and just please factor that in when you come to a deal. So my agents live in London, come from London up to Wigan, 3-hour journey, 3.5 hours, to speak to the chairman at the season once we've gone up, and we're there to have a meeting with the chairman. The minute we get there, our chairman's not here. Where is he? Oh, he's in Barbados. What do you mean?
What?
Whoa, this chairman's taking liberties.
So we're having negotiations with some other guy, and so whoever else was there to negotiate for him. We're trying to get to a conclusion, but we can't get hold of the chairman to accept what we want to say. So my agent leaves, comes back 2 weeks later, another arranged meeting, and he's still in Barbados. So we got another guy coming to try and do the deal. And I'm like, this is taking a mick, man. Like, what is going on? They don't want me or what? So I'm there thinking, he's taking a mick. And then it's like, okay, I've got a £3 million clause. If anyone puts anything over £3 million, I can go. So I'm like, I don't want to stay here with 1 year left. But my agents actually told me to stay there, and then I can just do what I want at the end of that season, because I'll be on a Bosman. I can get whatever I want on a contract. But I was like, look, Mrs. is pregnant. I can't afford to be in this last year. And I was just thinking negative things like, what if Paul Jewell just brings in like a top striker and then I'm on the bench all season? And then what if I get an injury and then I'm career ending? I haven't got no contract, no security. So I was like, I don't want to see out the last year. I should do in football terms, but no. Brian Robson came in. I looked at it. I was like, I supported United all my life. Obviously, growing up, seeing Brian Robson. Looked at the squad, looking at the squad that's there, going, wow, they just stayed up this season. Carnew's there. Earnshaw's there, Campbell's there, Shearer's there. Wow, wait a minute. They got a good side. But I knew how good we were. But I said, worst case scenario, they've stayed up, so they're looking to push on. With me there, I'll hopefully push them on a bit more. So it's a question of, okay, do I go there and sign? Right, they offer me a deal. I say, okay, well, I've got to go then. So upset, didn't want to go, came back to the stadium, to the ground to say bye to everyone. Cry my eyes out, looking at the guys, thinking, bloody hell, man, I can't believe I'm going. But it's just like they've just disrespected me completely. I'm on the motorway to Wigan, to West Brom, and they call me. Wigan call me and say, listen, we'll offer you this. I'm like, why the hell did you not just offer me that then? It was still a whole lot money less a week than I got offered at West Brom. And I said, if you just offered me that then, I would have signed and it'd have been done. Right. But for me, it was a case of having to stick by my word. Once I say yes to something, I feel like I'm letting someone down if I change my mind. Obviously, that's a stupid thing when it comes to football. Should not have any feelings involved with it. But that was me at the time. I went ahead and did what I felt I had to do rather than following what my heart wanted to do. And it was all because of that. It was like the principle. And at the same time, it was obviously Brian Robson. So that's why I left. I didn't want to leave at the beginning, but I ended up wanting to go, and then I've chose West Brom. Hopefully, that's a good enough details in.
Mate, that's an amazing answer. Literally.
Wow. Rich, thank you for coming on the show just for that question, mate. Brilliant.
Thank you so much.
Brilliant. All right.
We'll have to cut that bit.
Yeah, you know, I'm definitely using that.
That's most we've got out of him since he's joined us.
I've got many of these stories, mate.
All right, no, we are going to do it. This is your life. I got the red book and everything. Don't worry, it's coming out.
This is your life.
All right. Richard, thank you very much for coming on. That was quality, man. Definitely love to have you on again. Maybe near to the end of the season. Maybe some transfer news you got for us. But definitely love to have you back on, man.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, guys. I love your work. So keep doing what you're doing. Take care, guys.
Thank you very much. Take care. See you later.
Cheers, mate.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
And of course, Nathan Ellerton with that amazing story at the end, Nathan. Wow. Everyone was, I don't know if you looked, everyone was like that.
Yeah.
Tell me more. Like, quality. Love it. Brilliant. Well, big games coming up
soon. You kept your morals, man.
We'll speak to you next week. Take care.
All right, guys. Have a good one. And see you.
Cheers, Nathan.
See you later.
Bye, mate.
See you later. All right. That was Richie Mills and Nathan Ellen. And go and check out Richie. I'll put his Twitter handle. Tottenham are 2-0 up. Harry Kane's just scored a penalty. I will put Richie's Twitter handle in the comment section afterwards. Yeah, that's quality. And what a question at the end from Rich. And what an answer. I mean, I actually looked at myself there for a second and I was like, like a little kid. But yeah, very, very, very good story. All right, let's have a little chat about England. The England team was picked earlier on today. What's going on? The England team was picked earlier on today. Yesterday or the day before. And there was a few changes in there. In fact, there was quite a few wholesale changes. Some people may be surprised. Was
it the manager?
No, it was not the manager. It was. Can you see the screen? You can see the screen.
Yeah.
Here we go. Dean Henderson's...
God, Dyer got picked.
Wait up. Dean Henderson's made the squad. Sam Johnson of West Brom made the squad. That's out there. Tyrone Mings in there. Chilwell, Kieran Trippier's back in the team. Luke Shaw's made his brought back into the squad. You can tell by the old kits since the last time they were in. Carl Walker's back in the squad after a little while. Looks like he's got some makeup on there.
99.
John Stones, I mean, he's been in exceptional form. Jesse Lingard definitely deserves to be in there. James Ward-Prowse has been called up. But are there any players in the squad that you feel should have had a call up, or you feel that probably didn't deserve the call up?
Was that Wilcott?
What? No,
was that Wilcott at the bottom?
No,
Watkins, maybe.
No, Ollie Watkins got in the team, and that was Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
I swear that looked like Theo Wilcott from a distance. God.
No, it was definitely Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And yeah, you know it. And what was the other thing I said? Oh, this. This. Okay, this may seem harsh to some people, but I thought it was quite good. Elite, rising star, underrated. Now, Jesse Lingard and John Stones, and maybe even Luke Shaw would definitely not have been in there maybe at the start of the season. Probably would have been more likely in the overrated section. Solid players, James Ward-Prowse and Calvert-Lewin, and overrated. They've got Kieran Trippier, Tyrone Mings, and Harry Maguire. Would you say that was harsh, Steve? Would you say that those players that they've got their list as overrated was harsh, or do you think that's a fair call on them?
Who were the three again? Kieran Harry Maguire,
Kieran Trippier, Harry Maguire, and Tyrone Mings.
Yeah, Tyrone Mings has been playing well for his club, so I think that's unfair. I think he deserves his place in the squad. Trippier, I've never really rated this guy, although he's doing really well at Atletico Madrid at the moment. They're top of the league, so I don't know how he's doing at the moment. That I feel should be on that list. Certainly Eric Dyer. I've never.
You don't think Eric Dyer should be in the squad at all?
I don't think he should.
Who would you have swapped Eric Dyer out for?
Well, there's the players that. Trent Alexander-Arnold for a start.
You would have swapped him for right back. But Reece James got a call up. I know you're a big fan of Reece James.
Reece James, I think, deserves a call up. I like Reece James.
You would have dropped Kieran Trippier?
He would, he would be. Reece James is a right back, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
If I was picking my first 11, I'd still play Kyle Walker. When I looked at it and I was thinking who could play in that, I was looking at the others, Reece James, as much as I like him, and I just still come round to in the end thinking that Kyle Walker's got to be in there. Connor Cody, as hard of a professional, and I don't think he's in England class. Mm-hmm. But the rest of them, to be fair, I think they all deserve their place. Mm-hmm. Goalkeepers, we haven't got anyway in England, but
was you surprised by the selection on those goalkeepers though?
Again,
because I think between them there's about because between them I think there's probably about 4 England caps. I mean,
the other one that goes on the top there is Jordan Pickford, isn't it? And personally, I think Dean Henderson should be England's number 1 goalkeeper. I would start him. He picked to start. But as I say, Connor Cody, Sam Johnson's, he's and Nick Pope. They've gone by stats, but they're gonna be saving a lot of saves. They're going to be doing a lot of things. They're going to be in the limelight because of where Burnley and Thingy are, and West Brom are. No, but as I say, all the others, I think they all pretty much deserve their place. That's Harry Maguire. We all know, but
you're not budging him. He's Stonehenge, mate. He ain't going nowhere.
He's Stonehenge, exactly. I mean, my back 5 was Henderson, Maguire, Stones, Shaw, and Walker. Yeah. So that's what I would pick. Do
you think because Kyle Walker's been around for a while, do you think it's one of them things that because people have seen what he can do, they want something new, they want something different, so they just kind of dismiss Kyle Walker because he's been like, yes, he's had his down times, which every player does, but he's been consistent, and I think Man City have tried to get rid of him, but not get rid of him, but try to get in a replacement for him for how many years, and he's still there. He's still the man in that right back position.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean we weeks ago we was trying to shift Kyle Walker out and put someone else in. I think it was in our Premiership 11 best so far, but I think in the end, Kyle Walker was we couldn't find up someone to replace him because of the business. But I think you're right. I think because he's been around so long, I think we're all desperate to try and find just a little bit more impression than just looking at Kyle Walker. But if he's the man that's doing the business in the Premiership, then he should be playing right back for England.
Yeah. All right. Hold on, there's a little bit of feedback coming from somewhere. Not sure what it is. Hopefully we'll go in a second.
I mean, I like the midfield. So I like the midfield. I let the 2 boys go.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Jerome, is there anyone in the England squad that you were surprised didn't get in, or surprised that did get in?
So to be honest with you, I'm surprised he's chosen 3 right backs in the squad.
I need to give you that. All right. Sorry, go on.
I'm surprised he's chosen 3 right backs. So he's got obviously Walker, James, and Trippier. I mean, from a personal point of view, I like Wan-Bissaka.
Very good defensively.
I think Kyle Walker and Wan-Bissaka have got 2. I mean, Wan-Bissaka, I think, like we've said before, defensively, you're gonna have to go a long way to find a better defensive right back than him, or better defensive fullback even. And when you're playing international football, you got to be so you're like guaranteeing that side is solid. So I would have liked to have seen him in the squad. Missing out. I know people are talking about Trent. Trent's the big one, isn't he? Trent's the big one that's missing out. Other than that, any surprises? Not really. There's a few injuries, I suppose. So you've got obviously Grealish is injured. The goalie as well. Maddison. I mean, talking about the goal, is England at the moment, they're not exactly blessed in the goalkeeping department, aren't they? That used to be
I mean, they tried to. I'm reading things where they tried to get Robert Sanchez from Brighton to switch allegiances, but he's opted to go for Spain.
Yeah.
So obviously they were looking in that area.
Yeah, it's not a strong area for us. Now the midfield's a funny one because we've got so much creative attacking midfielders, but if Southgate's going to play, I guess, sort of two central midfielders, I guess Rice is probably nailed on, and then it's who goes next to him. And I guess if Henderson was available, it'd be him. But if Henderson's not there, I think the manager's got a bit of a, I guess, decision to make or a headache. So I don't know who you would partner Rice with out of all those midfielders he's picked.
This is one thing which we're going to get onto when we do the who goes on the plane, because you've mentioned Henderson, Rice. We've still got Mason Mount that could go in that central midfield role. Let me just quickly look at the squad. But there's other players in the midfield. Jude Bellingham is in this squad. Phil Foden, Calvin Phillips, James Ward-Prowse. Some of these players are missing out. And won't be going to that Euros.
I'll tell you what. Here we go. I'll tell you who I was. Obviously, us here on the programme watch him a lot. I think Smith Rowe has played unbelievably
he got in the
well.
squad. No, he's got to under 21s, didn't he?
Yeah, I think if there's a play, I mean, if you're picking people like Watkins, that have had a decent season, and you're picking Reece James, based off of mainly this season, then I mean, Emile Smith Rowe's just been incredible. But I know there's a lot of competition in that area, but you're giving so many players a cap. Like I think Roy Keane said it, didn't he, recently on Sky Sports, that like if you can control the ball these days, you're getting an international cap.
It's funny.
They've been handed out all over the place. And
but I don't think Smith Rowe was far. I think Gareth Southgate did give him a call, or he did let other people know that he's watching him. He because I think I saw an interview the other day where Smith Rowe said it's not. He didn't say it was an honour because he hasn't been selected, but he said it's good to know that you're in the thoughts of the England manager. So I don't think it's far off. I think what he just needs to see from Smith Rowe is that next step up, is that little bit more, is that consistency over time. It's all well and good doing it for the 2-3 months that he has done it since he's been in the squad, but these other players, Phil Foden, he's had to wait. He's done it over. He's been playing for City for a couple of seasons now. James Ward-Prowse. There's a lot of players that have played week in, week out for their clubs, and they've had to wait for it.
I'll tell you who I would swap then for Smith Rowe. Lingard's obviously had a couple of good months, but he's getting picked on the back of a couple of good months, isn't he? Really, Lingard, because up until he moved to West Ham, he probably wasn't in England thoughts at all. He wasn't. He's had a few good games, and now he's back in. So, I'd have probably chosen. I'm biased, probably chosen Smith Rowe over Lingard, but. We've got to remember, managers, they've got, they've built up relationships with players over the years. They've probably got their favourites. Yeah. So a bit of politics there as well, isn't there?
Well, there will be, but it will come down to what it all boils down to. Is trust. You've got to trust that these players are going to take your instructions and play with it and do it as you said. Jesse Lingard has played under Gareth Southgate. He knows what to expect from him. He knows what Jesse Lingard could do. And now Jesse Lingard is showing, once again, that he's got that fire in his belly, that he can do it. I think Gareth Southgate will be speaking to the England under-21s manager. He'll be keeping an eye on what Smith Rowe doing. And then we'll want to see it continue to the end of the season. I mean, look at Saka. Saka got in the England team on merit after a season and a half of playing in the Arsenal first team, near enough week in, week out. And he got in this season. So I don't think it'll be too long for Smith Rowe, because you've seen what kind of player he is. And and I don't see his form dropping. I think there is still quite a long way to go for Smith Rowe to be the top player that he can be. I think that he's carrying a little bit of weight, little bit like Luke Shaw. Could do with that. But he's carrying a bit of timber there. But yeah, no, I think Smith Rowe's a quality player. Is there anyone in the team side that you would have picked that you think, or anyone surprised that was in the team?
Well, this is not the team, is it, that's going to the Euros? It's the
No, this is the team for the next. Yeah.
That's what I mean. So technically, it don't matter who's in. It's qualifiers. We always qualify. So it's pointless when you think about it. As long as Phil Foden and Saka are on the plane, West Ham can have a bum fight for all I care.
Well, I'm talking about this squad. Has anyone in this squad who surprised you? I mean, like, there's Ollie Watkins getting in the squad would have surprised a few people because England generally pick the same. England generally pick the same players. England generally have their players that they're looking at. They very rarely veer away from it. But the likes of Ollie Watkins getting in the team it's a big move for him.
It is, especially for qualifiers. See what he can do.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe Dyer's being picked. That's just bizarre to me. But it's bodies at the end of the day. I don't know. With Euros, I'll just wait until the team gets picked to play the Euros. With qualifiers, I'm just like, no, it don't matter. There could Jude Bellingham could be in there. I'd rather have him than some midfielders. He's been doing all right for Dortmund, really well. No, but he's 21 though, and he's under 21s, isn't he?
No. Jude Bellingham's in the full squad.
Oh, he's in the full squad.
Jude Bellingham's in the full squad.
Right. I've not gone through the list, that's all. I know some people look forward to seeing the list. I'll see it on Twitter and I'll just be like, oh.
The list was there. Squad. The list was there, sire.
Yeah, no, that's the first time I've seen it. That's the first time I've seen the list and you showed me.
That's the list.
I'm not a massive
reader.
Like England
Open your eyes and read it. The list is there. I don't care if you're an England fan. Is there anyone in that squad that you think shouldn't be in there?
No, that's about right.
All right, cool.
It's about right.
Last time I asked you a question. All right.
Country,
Steve, so you're saying Connor Cody. You think maybe international stage is a bit too much for him, and that's maybe, or do you think that Gareth Southgate's maybe picking him because we know that Connor Cody looks good in the three at the back, and maybe he's thinking about that. Oh, hold on. Go on.
Yeah, maybe he could, but I just don't feel he's just someone who does well at Wolves. He may well play with. Is that the way England play with three at the back? I mean,
I think he wants options though, doesn't he?
Yeah. I just feel there's better choices, and I don't, like Jerome said, I don't think as many of all these defenders as what, you know, as many as what that have been named there. So Connor Cody, Eric Dyer are two people that would not be on. I wouldn't think they're
and you'd swap. Who would you bring in? Who would you bring in for, say? I mean, Eric Dyer. I just don't think he should be in the team. I don't think he's played well this season. I don't rate him as a top level defender. And it's taken time to probably make that decision fully, because every time he gets moved to a new position, he seems to do well for a little while, and then kind of gets found out after a while. But who would you swap him for?
Well, just come to mind instantly. You've got Wan-Bissaka, you've got Terence Trent-Arnold, and you've got Gomez as well as Liverpool. So that's three. That's more than the two. So
is Gomez back in the Liverpool squad? Because that could be on Gareth Southgate's thinking. The fact that Gomez got that early injury early on in the season, and has probably missed quite a bit. So it's one of them things. It's a big risk going into Euros, taking a defender who potentially is not 100% match fit or game fit.
Maybe not. But even if you take him away, I mean, those two are not getting in front of Wan-Bissaka and Terence Trent-Arnold. Surely. I mean, why isn't he playing? Why is he?
Why isn't?
Is he injured? He's injured, and he's trying Arnold.
I mean, you'd have to be to not pick him in the squad. I know Liverpool have not been on form this season, but
I won't take Trent. Not even take Euros.
How?
I can't take Trent.
No, I won't take him. I'm not saying I'm not going to come into it and say he's overrated or anything like that.
He's the best. He's the best right back in the.
Rhys James or Wan-Bissaka. I'd rather have Wan-Bissaka. 100%. Trent for me. I know Liverpool have not been good because they've had injuries and blah 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 and all that. But for me, Trent, he's not earned his place. He's not earned his place. I can't say Robinson because he's Scottish and he's going in.
I can't say that Trent Alexander-Arnold has not played well this season. I don't think he has played to his full ability. I think he's been very sloppy at times, but I think Liverpool have been sloppy. And I think maybe a bit of complacency setting at Liverpool. They absolutely rinsed the league this year and should have won the league the year before. Champions League winners. Maybe I can't say it has gone to the head, but maybe a little bit of it has. Because when they came back after the break, that wasn't the performance of champions, and since then they haven't been able to pick that up. Since they've switched off and not been able to switch fully back on. But Trent Alexander-Arnold is an exceptional player. I think he's better than Rhys James, and going forward, he's better than Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And in this day and age, the way that everyone plays football, a roaming, attacking fullback is massively important. Yes, there'll be games which Aaron Wan-Bissaka could step in and take the spot of Alexander-Arnold, which is, I think, why in the right back position, England actually are blessed because, as you said, we've got Rhys James, we've got Alexander-Arnold, we've got Wan-Bissaka, but with Wan-Bissaka and Alexander-Arnold, you've got the balance. You've got a perfect balance. You've got like a Gary Neville type fullback, and then you've got the new David Beckham cross Carl Walker type right back. But I can't.
Kieran Trippier.
We've got so many.
I just think. I just think we're obviously Wan-Bissaka playing all season. You've got Rhys James playing all season and doing good stuff with Chelsea, and him doing good stuff with Man United. And you've got Trent having a terrible season, not all down to him, but a terrible season. But he's on the plane when he's not deserved to be. So it's like a kick in the teeth, basically, to Rhys James, who's working his nuts off.
Yeah, but it reminded me a little bit of previously, where it was like, you've got to take form into account. You have to take form into account. It's massively important. But then you can't dismiss what this player has done previously. You can't dismiss what the level of what this player is. And how good they are.
What Jerome just said about Jesse Lingard, he's in the England squad now because he's shit hot. But before then, he ain't done nothing there now because he's on form.
Yeah.
So you do have to take. By the time it all comes around, some of these might not be able to tackle to save their life. Might not be able to. Get a ball in the barn door.
When it comes to the crunch and that plane ticket's getting printed, are you going to have the balls to still carry on playing at a level? Is it going to get to you? Because international level in a tournament, you need to have a mindset which is of a champion, because otherwise you'll just crumble. And we've seen many England players that have.
You've got Callum Wilson and Jadon Sancho as well. We haven't mentioned either.
Yeah, there's so many players. There's so many players. In fact, have they got to go? Yeah, I mean, are you picking?
I think Sancho's injured. I think. for this one.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, but on that as well, there's Tammy Abrahams that people that got in the squad previously. I mean, Dominic Calvert-Lewin's been excellent this season. Mason Greenwood's been good. Grealish isn't in the squad because he's injured. Go on.
Do you want to hear my theory? This might be better for maybe closer to the time with the Euros. You know what they're doing now? They're doing these concussion substitutions in the Premier League, right? Mm-hmm. Where you're allowed like an extra sub. What I think they should do is, obviously, when teams pick their squads for the Euros and the World Cup, they're limited with players, right? 20 squad of 23, perhaps. Is that right? Something like that. Yeah. And normally teams take 3 goalies, don't they?
Yeah.
And only one really plays, right? Unless you're unlucky, you get an injury. What I think they should do is they should pick 2 goalies, which gives you an extra outfield player. And then if one of the goalies gets injured, you can then call up another goalie,
an emergency,
to add to your squad, rather than having 3 goalies take up spaces when realistically only one of them's going to play.
It's not a bad idea, but I think just because of the current climate and the whole way the year's been, congested games and everything trying to fit, I think they should be allowed to bring an extra couple of players. I think there should be like 25 or a 26-man squad. Just because
it's a good idea, that.
It's exceptional circumstances. It wouldn't be the normal case, but you've had players play a lot of games in a short amount of time. I mean, if anyone saw that German team, I think it was, I can't remember their name, but their captain broke down in tears at the end of the season because they were exhausted. He said, we're exhausted. We had nothing left. We played like 5 games in the space of 2 weeks. We've had to cram in the rest of our season in the space of 2.5 months, and we've got nothing left, and they end up getting relegated. And that's not going to be far off what the players have had to deal with at this present time now, where they've been run into the ground, and now they've got to go and play a Euros and extended season. So potentially they should maybe have a longer, a bigger squad.
Yeah.
It's like, what would be your best 11 for England? What you've seen so far?
Yeah, it's
Pickford for me. I'm not taking him. He's staying in Liverpool. Not picking him.
It's a big. Yeah, you might not pick Pickford, but it's a big ask asking the likes of Sam Johnson. I mean, Dean Henderson. He's got experience of Champions League now. Nick Pope. I mean, you're very inexperienced goalkeepers you're taking to the Euros, which is probably why he's making sure he gets game time now. We're just joined by Abby again. Abby?
Hey. Hi.
Slightly happier?
Yeah. Do you know what? I feel like we grew. I think the second goal was key for us, that penalty. I think that we looked a lot more confident after that. Mm-hmm. Lucas Moura honestly ran his bollocks off tonight. I'm very, very happy with that. He played for the badge, and I actually think everyone should take a look in that squad and see that is the type of effort that everyone should be putting in, week out. I'm also really happy for Vinicius getting his goal. He did really well, put himself about a lot. And Rodon and Tanganga, I mean, clean sheet. And also, look, you have to give a credit to Sanchez. He looks a lot more composed that second half as well. And things look a lot better when you look at the table. I just was having a look, and it's mental to think that there's only 3 points in it, from where we are to Chelsea in 4th. And you think about how bad we've been.
I told you that, didn't I? I told you.
I know.
We stay 9th.
It's crazy.
It's crazy because I just
1
think
point
to myself,
off.
Well, how poor then must everyone else be? And for us to still be within a contention of it for how bad we've been.
But do you not think part of that is because you've been playing this pragmatic style? It's not easy on the eye. So when things didn't quite go that way, it was like, well, I've just had to sit through this, and then what's the results I'm getting anyway? Do you think that was playing a part of it?
I don't think it's just that. I mean, look, I'm not one of those people that's necessarily Jose out or Jose in. I've said all along, I think it's a combination of all 3 things, manager, board, squad, as to why we've been pretty poor in games. I don't think the manager helps himself. Sometimes, obviously, tactically, the way he's set us up in the past, and clearly, it obviously wasn't working. I don't know. It blows my mind to think that like how we're still in. I just can't believe we're still like even in contention for it. You know, when people sing, you know, Chelsea's praises so highly, and they're only 3 points in front. You know, obviously look at Liverpool, what's happened to them, and I just think to myself, I think that COVID has taken such a massive hit, like it's impacted, you know, the league and everyone so much, having basically to play 2 seasons like through on with such a short break in between. And I just, you know, for how disappointing we've been, maybe it's the times where we weren't playing very well, but we were still managing to see out results earlier in the season, which has helped us. But then you have to think to yourself, okay, well, those games against West Ham earlier on this season, Newcastle, you know, where we were the better team and we still managed to drop points. You know, if only we actually would have won those games, we would have been in a much better position. I think that people get so wound up, like you said, because of the approach that the manager takes. So I think he always had a tough job to do, you know, to come in and follow Pochettino when no one really wanted Pochettino to go, you know, and he's ex-Chelsea. It was always going to be an uphill battle for him anyway. But I just look at that table and I just am shocked. It's mind blowing, really.
But as you said, you're what, 3 points in contention for Champions League spot. Obviously, you got some big games coming up. The likes of you got.
See, that's the twist. That's the twist. Yeah. When you look at Arsenal, we've been dreadful in the Premier League this season. Dreadful. Once Liverpool's out of the way, we all play the bottom half of the league until we play Chelsea at Stamford Bridge.
I think Tottenham have got Newcastle next. Man United's going to be a tough game. Everton, you got the final of the EFL Cup. And that could potentially either make or break, maybe with confidence, or push you on in the season. But then you've got Sheffield United, Leeds, Wolves, Aston Villa, and Leicester towards the end of the season. Okay, there's a couple of tough games in there, but it's there. It's within reach.
No, 100%, and that I think that those games straight after international break, you know, obviously we picked up points tonight. Great. I think a lot of people were skeptical. I was skeptical. I didn't think that we'd do it. I think, like I said earlier, I think if Grealish starts, I think it's probably a different game. To be honest, I think that's what makes Villa tick. And we all know how good he is and how much Spurs would have loved and needed him in their side when they had the chance. But you know, I think you're right. Like those games straight after, it's now, you know, we've hit bottom after Thursday. You've got to restart. Whether or not he's gonna, and I think a lot of it's sticking with the team. Like he changes so much. Like his defense, you know, he's always taking one in, one out, whatever. I would like to actually just see him just continue with this. Like I was really impressed with Rodon. I'm really impressed with Tanganga. Obviously, we lost Reguilon. Hopefully it's nothing too serious and he'll be back. But I think keeping a bit of stability is also really going to be key. And in those games, it'll be really important to pick up points and win for confidence going into that final. Because if we're on any type of bad run, we'll just get absolutely spanked by City.
Yeah, and coming out of that with a bad loss could ruin the end of your season as well. And that's the last thing you need.
Yeah, exactly. So that for me, you know, take these 10 days, regroup, let's all have a little break. And then come back and try and build on today, because they did look much better second half. After the first 25 minutes, they did settle a bit, and they look much better second half.
All right. Thank you very much for coming on, Abby, and giving us the match preview and post-match analysis.
You're welcome. I will. I'll see you after international break.
All right, we will see you after international break. Take care.
Take care, guys. Bye.
Right, see you later. Bye.
See, I knew Tottenham would win tonight because without Jack Grealish, Ollie Watkins is starved up front. There's no fluid. There's nothing in midfield whatsoever.
Well, Aston Villa have got a good squad, and they've surprised quite a few people this season with what they've done. But Jack Grealish is integral to that team, and I think any team that has Jack Grealish would be integral because he's such a good player. You'd end up a lot of the stuff would be going through him. So. Yeah, it's a tough one. When no Grealish, Villa will have to work out how to deal with life without Grealish, or even a few games without Grealish. But it's not surprising that they're
and they've got Newcastle next. Their game's Newcastle when we come
Aston
back.
Villa's.
No,
Aston Villa's. Yeah, they've got Tottenham. They've got Newcastle away from home, and then they've got Man United, and then they've got Man United and Everton. 2 tough games. Then they've got Man City. That's where That could
They
be.
could be going in with 2 defeats to a final. Oh.
And that's that's exactly what I was saying. If they then lose that final in a bad way, it could derail the rest of their season. But who knows? As Abby was saying, it's surprising that Tottenham, in not necessarily with their defeats, but with the reaction of a lot of people, reaction of everyone about Tottenham and how badly they've been doing, being 3 points behind Chelsea, sitting in full spot. I mean, I'd bite your arm off to take that position right now, because Arsenal are
You never know. When we come back, we could go on an unbelievable run.
Still, Arsenal are currently 9 points behind.
41 points.
Not 42. 9 points behind Chelsea. It's a big ask for full spot. Top 6, again, still a big ask. 6 points behind Tottenham. 7 points behind West Ham. So it's a lot to do for Arsenal. So
interesting fixtures.
Yeah, let's
Sheffield United away, Fulham at home, West Brom at home, and then it's Everton at home. There's another way. Crystal Palace away, and then it's Everton at home.
So, all right. So let's get on to the transfer roundup then. Oh no. First of all, Jerome, you checked out. No, not Guardian this week. Oh, you checked out the. I'm confused. You checked out the couple of under-21s. For a view of maybe getting into the England squad at one point. Who did you look at, and how good are they?
Everyone's gone.
Jerome, unmute, mate. There we go.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Bit of a Western there. So the first one is Noni Madueke. And this is a 19-year-old attacking midfielder that is currently at PSV in Holland. And one of these English guys that has gone out to play abroad, spent pretty much his whole youth career at Spurs. And he joined PSV in 2018. And when he joined PSV, he actually rejected Man United to go there. Left-footed, very creative, very mobile, quite a bit raw, you would say. Very nice body movement. Physically, he's got a bit of a similar physique to Pepe of Arsenal. And this season, he's really playing quite well for PSV. He's got 7 goals in 17 league games, which for an attacking midfielder is pretty good. And he's already played for the England under 18 team. This is I guess the next step for him. Sort of a guy that hasn't really been spoken about in the press at all, really. No.
Do you know what? I had a little look through the under-21 squad and thought I'd see if there's any not unknown, but untapped diamonds that maybe we could speak about. And his name popped up, and I was thinking I've not really heard about him. So good player.
Pretty decent. Yeah, looks pretty decent.
All right,
pretty
cool.
Decent. Banging in the goals in Holland. So that's him. Then we've got, I think, Lloyd Kelly. I think we've got is the next one.
Okay.
Which is a centre back. He's a 22-year-old centre back. He plays for Bournemouth, and you might be surprised about this. He joined Bournemouth from Bristol City in 2019, and they spent £13 million on him. They spent a lot of money on him, Bournemouth.
Wow.
And he's been sort of an ever-present for them this season. Very, very quite slick, very good on the ball, and really deliberate with his play. When he plays at left back, he looks like a left back. He doesn't look like a centre back that's playing at left back, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Maybe a slightly smaller, more mobile version, perhaps, of Tyrone Mings, that sort of player. But when he plays left back, he looks excellent. He beats players, can take players on. So Yeah, that's Lloyd Kelly.
Lloyd Kelly. So ones to watch then for potential England call-ups in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, this Nonny seems very interesting. Like, I like the look of him. Yeah, you know, like when you're watching someone playing, you think, oh, they look a bit different. Like there's something about them.
Yeah, maybe someone that might end up back in the Premier League at some point as well. Yeah. All right, well, keep an eye out, people. Check out the names. What was the names again for the two players?
So it's Nonny Madueke.
Yeah.
And Lloyd Kelly. All
right, cool. Nonny Madueke. I leave that to you.
I might have got that wrong as well, to be fair.
Not as wrong as I did. I tripped over my tongue there, mate. Bloody hell. All right, let's get on to the transfer roundup. Boom. According to the marker, earlier on this week, Norwegian playmaker Martin Odegaard was 100% returning to the Spanish champions Real Madrid after his loan, which would see, as they would like to see the man lead the midfield in the future, replacing the trio of Casemiro, Tony, Cruz and Luka Modric. But later on in the week, there was actually news that Arsenal and Real Madrid have spoken, and they are going to be sitting down at the end of the season to discuss potentially a permanent move for Martin Odegaard. But they want to discuss any moves at the end of the season, obviously, once they've reevaluated the situation. So obviously we'll hear some more on that later on down the line. Philadelphia Union goalkeeper Matt Fraser signed a new contract for the club. Philadelphia. Newcastle and Tottenham are two of the number of clubs keeping tabs on Hotspur striker Aaron Bupa-Penza. Jerome, you had a little look in. What's he saying?
Yeah, 24-year-old centre forward. Hatayspor in Turkey. I believe they actually got promoted, so this is their first season, like in the Super League, in the top flight. Yeah, and he is the top scorer this season in that division.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, he's actually a teammate of Aubameyang. He's from Gabon, and a bit like Aubameyang as well. He does like the somersault when he scores.
Right. Now, does he score goals like Aubameyang? Well, not this season, obviously.
He scores goals like Aubameyang used to score. Yeah. He's left-footed. For a guy that's top scorer, he doesn't start every game. He comes on a sub quite a bit, but he's been averaging a goal every 93 minutes.
All right.
He's basically a pure striker, just like a finisher. Doesn't really get involved too much in the build-up, but get him in the box in front of goal. He joined this team from Bordeaux. But I don't think he actually played for Bordeaux's first team. He had four different loan spells when he was there.
This guy's just not getting the love, is he? Like, he sits on the bench, comes on, scores. Didn't really get game time at Bordeaux. Top goal scorer in the Turkish league. What's he got to do?
Yeah. He had these loan spells, and then this team in Turkey have snapped him up. And he's having a really good season so far.
All right. Well, Newcastle and Tottenham are apparently looking at him, so could be a Premier League player in the not too distant future. We spoke about his player last week. He's in preliminary or early talks with Borussia Dortmund. It's Charlie Webster, Chelsea youngster. What's he saying? How good is he?
Right. So he's 17-year-old that's at like Chelsea under 18s. Central midfield. So if I had to just sum him up, really, and compare him to someone, I think he reminds me a little bit of Miguel Aziz that plays for Arsenal. Very calm, quite like a natural footballer. Doesn't panic on the ball, quite stylish. Looking up about him, it says that he can play, attacking or defensive midfield. But, he really reminds me of Miguel Aziz, the way he plays.
Very calm, composed on the ball.
Very calm. Been with Chelsea since since under 10, 11 days. And like you said, Dortmund linked with him. Yeah,
I think England are breeding a lot of that type of player now, aren't they? They're very technically gifted. I don't think it'll be too long until England are actually doing bits with some of their players. Well,
I listened to. I don't know where I heard it, but a lot of these youth teams, they're not coaching players to be forwards, defenders. They're coaching players to be midfielders, because when you can basically, you're so comfortable on the ball that you can then go out and and playing a different position. So they're really developing players, like really,
to be all rounders.
And giving them a really high technical level, so they can then choose a position once they've got the technical, the technical ability.
As you're saying, he looks a very good player. Aziz, Tommy Doyle, these players. There's a lot of them coming up. There's a lot of names that it's the same name circling. And there's some seriously good players around. Another player that Arsenal are looking at. Arsenal have opened up talks regarding a deal for Nordsjælland 16-year-old central midfielder Zindan Sturtdemir. Did you have a look at him?
There's not so much footage of him, to be honest. I know that he's only really played for their under-19 team at Nordsjælland in Denmark. But when you sort of read up about him, that has played for the under-16 team of Denmark. One of the brightest prospects in Denmark. I think he said himself that he would really like to play in the Bundesliga. I think some Bundesliga clubs have been interested in him as well. There's not, because he's sometimes with these young players, there's not sort of tons of footage of him about. He's 16. He's so young.
And he's playing for the first team as well. Sheffield United will try and hold out the biggest fee this summer for midfielder Serge Sander-Berge. Liverpool, Aston Villa, Tottenham, and Arsenal are interested in the player. Chelsea are in the process of extending the contract of Thiago Silva. I think he's just been good around the squad, as well as on the pitch. He seems to have been quite an important figure now for the team. Celtic have been back to go for Ben Davies this summer, just months after joining Liverpool. Brighton head coach Graham Potter's highlighted the importance of Danny Welbeck to his team and remained tight-lipped on his future beyond this season. I mean, there's a lot of Danny Welbeck will get a lot of stick for the lack of goals that he scores and whatnot. But I mean, for a team like Brighton, you've got an England international, however many caps, played for Man United and Arsenal. I think as long as he can keep injury free, that's an excellent signing for what's it called? Liverpool and Tottenham have both indicated interest in signing American striker Matthew Hope from Schalke. Jerome, how good's this player?
So he's he's one of these players that's sort of been under the radar, really, even in like America where he's from. So he's 20 years old, striker. Joined Schalke in 2019, basically from academy football in America. He was actually he was born in California in the OC. Orange County, and he saw Simon knows, and
used to watch it. Simon's a big fan.
Won't go that far.
He only made his debut in November for the first team, but in January, obviously he plays for Schalke, and they've had a hard season so far, haven't they? Schalke, they've had a bit of a nightmare. So he's not in the best of teams, but he scored a hat-trick in January, and when he did that, he became the first American to score a hat-trick in the Bundesliga. The third youngest ever to score a hat-trick in the Bundesliga. He's one of those strikers that sort of plays on the shoulder of the last defender. So he's got like intelligent runs, and some of his finishing is quite impressive as well. But apart from that hat-trick, he's only really scored a couple of other goals. But he's just in a bad team.
They're just not in a good place at the moment, are they, Schalke?
No,
they're not, and it's been like that for a little while now. Manchester United interested in Barcelona Guinea-born Spanish under-17 midfielder Arix Mabia. That was in the Mundial. That was revealed by Steve over 2 weeks ago. Steve, you got a little bit more news on Barcelona?
It's quite a lot out of Spain this week. Spoke to our man out there. First of all, talks was in Zidane. Have been going on this week, and they've been very positive. So it looks like he could be staying. Okay. Ronaldo, he's not going to Madrid, as again as we said last week, and Fabrizio brought up a few hours before we come on tonight. What it is, Real Madrid want young players. They don't want 35-year-old, even Cristiano Ronaldo's to come to Real Madrid. So Cristiano Ronaldo is not going to Real Madrid. He will be staying at Juventus. David Alaba. The only verbal agreement is with Real Madrid and nobody else.
Yeah.
Nobody else.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen this week, and we've all seen over the last week that he's spoken to this and he's done this and he's done that. But David Alaba has only a verbal agreement with Real Madrid. Staying with Real Madrid, they are definitely interested in Haaland, as are Chelsea, City, Liverpool, PSG as well. But that's only if they sell Mbappe. The only way
PSG, sorry.
Yeah, the only way they would get him is if they sold Mbappe. And also Barcelona. Dortmund do not want to sell him. They do not want to sell him this summer. And speaking to Marie over the last few days, she is pretty adamant that he will not be going this window, and he will be going wherever he will be going the following window. So he's very unlikely to leave. Riola, he's spoken to everybody. He's offered Haaland to Barcelona. Real has spoken to all the clubs interested in him, and it's what he should do. Neither a fan of these clubs though should get mega excited because you're hearing that they've spoken to him and he's spoken to him. He's spoken to all of them. He's doing what he should do. Yeah,
Mino Raiola's. He's the king of that, isn't he? He pull no punches in saying it either.
No,
what he said about Man United. Paul Pogba's not going to sign a contract.
No, exactly. So fans don't get excited because and the thing is, no agent or no player is going to come out 2 years or a year before a deal is done and say, especially Riola, and say it's done. Yeah, it's not
because you're writing off any other potential deal. Even if it's a case of it could be closed, or it could, you don't know that another club won't come in and offer you more money. I know Raiola will definitely be in for more money. So it's nothing's done.
People will guess. People will go, oh, we'll have a guess, and they may get it right.
Yeah,
but it's 1 in 5. So someone's going to get it right. It's whether that person wants to. But come on, we all know we've been in this game long enough. We know that agents and not especially Ireland and Riola.
Yeah,
they're not going to lay their cards on the table and say where he's going and what's happening. It's absolutely ridiculous. For Haaland to go to Barcelona, if he actually did, they would have to sell Coutinho, Griezmann, and Umtiti. Those are the 3 players that I spoke to the guy in Barcelona, and they're the 3 players that they want to get rid of. And for the others, they must sort out the right deal. So there's a lot that's got to happen at Barcelona for them to get Haaland. If Messi stays, and the likelihood is that if that happens, then Barcelona will go all out to get Haaland. They will go full throttle. So much will happen now between Ireland and other clubs where he will go. It's impossible to say yet. You can't say he's going there, he's going there, he's going there. We don't. We just don't know. The players that that were just mentioned there. That Coutinho, he potentially could go to Arsenal, of what I've been told.
Okay.
If Martin Odegaard goes back to Real Madrid.
No. No. No.
I love this player.
We want Odegaard. I mean, look, if it was a case of we weren't getting Odegaard and Coutinho was the man on offer, I'm never turning down Coutinho. Like the talk of the Philip Coutinho not being good enough for Arsenal is absolute nonsense, mate. Like nonsense.
It's not Martin Odegaard.
If Mourinho stays, then Umtiti or Skriniar are the targets. Skriniar is on fire at the moment. I've spoken to Carlo. He is the best centre half in the Serie A at the moment. The thing is with Tottenham, they should have got him last year when I told you.
Yeah. Now it's going to be an extra 10-15 mil on top of that, surely, isn't it?
So maybe Umtiti, which Barcelona will, they'll be over the moon if they don't have Skriniar, because Umtiti they'll do a cut price, a cut price deal for him. Skriniar, you're looking at 50-60 million now. He's going up and up and up, daily, because he's on fire at the moment. Griezmann, you're looking at PSG or Atletico Madrid going back there. We just said Coutinho potentially Arsenal, but there is that possibility he could go back to Liverpool. This is where Barcelona want Coutinho to go. They are desperate for Coutinho to go back to Liverpool.
So,
buckets.
Yeah. To cut, that makes sense. That makes sense. So sorry. Just before the Coutinho thing, I'm just about to ask a question that threw me off. It's gone. No, it's gone, mate. It's gone.
Griezmann.
No, yes, that's it. Well done, Griezmann. So, does that mean would it potentially see João Felix going somewhere, or would they have Griezmann and João Felix in the same squad?
Well, João Felix is at the moment he's linked with Man City. So maybe there's something there with that question. I look at that and I think Atletico, if he could go to Atletico back there, he would be more than happy to go back there, because that's where
I wouldn't have said João Felix's progression. I mean, it's only been two seasons, but he's in a very defensive mindset of a team. Like the Diego Simeone team, I wouldn't have said would be well suited for someone that plays like João Felix. I'd say it kind of he's not got as much freedom. It's not saying that he's going to stunt his growth as a player, but I just think he would be in a team better where he could express himself more.
So the City one would be better. Does go ahead, doesn't it? We spoke about that he was linked with City last week.
It'd be a dream to watch at City as well under Pep Guardiola.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah, so that's, as I said, like Liverpool, the one just carry on back to Coutinho. They owe him loads of money, so Barcelona would love Liverpool to take him back, so then they can work out and pay some of the money off. And all this Barcelona are willing to do to get Haaland. They will do all that to get Haaland. Saying that, I've been told that City are still favourites, but favourites in like you got those clubs mentioned. I mean, that's a list of clubs that.
So what are Real Madrid doing to get Haaland then? They've got to get rid of a load of players because they ain't got no money.
Real Madrid, I just that one's a little bit the one where you think,
and especially
have you got 150 million under the somewhere?
Exactly, and this look, if it's next season, it's different because you've got a release clause. But it's this season, like the clubs will think, okay, if we're going to get a serious chance of trying to get Haaland, we've got to try and push from this season, willing to pay the extra money, because next season it's going to be an absolute nightmare trying to get him, because it's always going to be based on is one, his preference, and two, how much money are you going to pay him or his agent, because it's not a bidding war anymore. It's 55 million release clause or whatever it is.
Yeah. It's there's so much going on. Where he's going to go, I just. And if Messi leaves Barcelona, then that could make all the game the game change again. Does he stay? Does he go?
Did you have a bit more on Sergio Aguero to Barcelona?
Nothing on Sergio Aguero. I mean, I had a chat for about 2 hours about all this with the Barcelona guy, and Aguero wasn't mentioned. It's the only other thing that they are going at with Messi. They're going all out to keep him, and if anyone can keep him, it's Laporte. Who was the president who is at the moment.
Yeah.
And this is the last bit of news is about Gini Ronaldo.
Yeah.
He's called into the Times this week or today. They've been linked to signing a pre-contract with Barcelona. I've spoken to sources just before we came on. They don't want him.
Oh, don't they?
They don't want him. They say, why do we want him? They've not heard anything over there. They're saying, well, why would we want him? We've got Mariba, we've got Ricky Puig, we've got Marillion, we've got Panjinic. Why do we want to have Wijnaldum as well? Which makes a bit of sense. So I think it's just one you got to. But the fans and people over in Barca are just we don't want you. Why stay where you are? Someone told me. Can you stay where you are? I like Wijnaldum.
Yeah, they're not the easiest fans to impress before you've even stepped on the pitch, though, are they? Like, I mean, they would shoot down anyone unless it was the man they wanted, and it's like because it's almost like Real Madrid want Mbappe, and anyone that comes in that ain't Mbappe is probably in for a little bit of trouble, unless it's maybe a Haaland. But the fans want Mbappe. So it's going to be hard for anyone who's not Mbappe to come into that team and be like, we didn't get Mbappe, but we've got... And they're going to be like, no, we don't want him. Send him back.
No.
We want Mbappe.
We know the clubs that they go to. There's five clubs you could possibly go to. And I think 3 of the clubs you could easily cross off just by using your own football knowledge. That there's no way. How can you go there? I mean, if Mbappe looks like he's staying, so Haaland won't be going there.
Yeah, because they can't afford to get him.
Barcelona seems to me that they've got too much work to do.
Yeah.
Bayern Munich have got Lewandowski.
But Dortmund won't sell him to Bayern Munich. They said there's no way you're going. There's no way you're going to Bayern Munich.
Again, they can't do it again. They can't do it again.
No.
And They must look at Lewandowski and think, what were we thinking? I mean, I think they didn't have a choice in the end, but they can't keep doing that.
So it cuts down to Real Madrid and City, and you look at Real Madrid and you think, where are you going to get the money from?
Same place they got the money from before.
Where?
GOV and then they've got to sell players.
Yeah, but they're not allowed to do that no more, are they?
They're fine the money.
Against the law. And just finally, Jordi Alba wants to stay at Barcelona for the rest of his career.
But do Barcelona want him to stay for the rest of his career?
Who knows?
Big question. That's for impossible one. Did you have something on Nuno Mendes, Steve? Did you have something on Nuno Mendes?
Nuno Mendes, Man City.
Man City
want a left back. They will be getting a left back. I've been told they're definitely getting a left back, and the one they want is Nuno Mendes.
Yeah, I mean, you previously looked at him before us, didn't you, Jerome?
Yeah.
How could this kid look?
Yeah, this is the next big thing in terms of European left backs.
This is how good City are. This is how good City are.
He's like
you can turn around and say that they buy everything. No, they don't. This is how you run a club and a business.
Go on, John.
Yeah. When you think of obviously the left back they've got at the moment, or one of them, Mendy, Him at his sort of peak. Like, this is like the potential of this guy. Like, he's only 18 and he's just top draw. He's actually, this week he got called up for the first time to the full Portuguese national team. For the first time, only 18. Pacey, strong, reads the game well, loads of interceptions. When he attacks, he like really attacks with a lot of purpose. Defensively solid. I think they upped his release clause recently as well. This Nuno Mendes to like 70 million or something.
Yeah.
Quality. Wherever he goes, that team have got an incredible left back.
All right.
Sounds like the new Alfonso Davies a bit.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah, and Si's right. I mean, that's the way to do it. I mean, you've got Zinchenko, you've got Mendy there, and they still want to bring in a left back for the future. Get him in, breed him in well, and then Man City, you can't complain about the way they do it at the end of the day.
Yeah. I don't think Mendy's going to be there at the end of the summer. I think Mendy's
too many injuries, is it?
Yeah, and I think who was it? I can't. Who was it? Who said it? I remember someone from City. I don't know if it was someone on the show, but they said he's just a good bloke. You know, he's a good guy to have around, but he just.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He's a laugh. He's in the dressing room, everyone loves him. Everyone gets on with him. Yeah, the manager loves him. Upstairs loves him. The trouble is he can't do it on the football pitch.
Yeah.
So they keep.
Yeah, I mean, many a player has stayed at a club purely on the basis that they are a good professional. Like I've seen that. I've seen clubs keep players for being good around the squad, good around. And just being good around the club in general. But when you're paying them upwards of $100,000 a week, I think they could be good somewhere else.
Yeah. So there's a lot of news start from Spain anyway. So we get that up on the page later.
Yeah. Did you have anything else?
No, I don't think so.
All right.
Arsenal looking for a right back, but we mentioned that in the week, didn't we? And no, nothing else.
All right, sweet. Leicester and Leeds are interested in signing Turkey midfielder Okan Kurku of Feyenoord. After Feyenoord cut the price for the 20-year-old to 10 million. It'd be interesting to see if Leicester or Leeds do get him. A player I like the look of, and at 10 mil, considering Arsenal were looking at 25 mil, I think the price tag was, or 20 mil the price tag was. It'd be interesting to see how he does if he does come to the Premier League, because very technical, gifted player, could be good. All right, and that is all we have time for. Boom! Thank you very much for Richie Mills coming in today, top guest. Thank you very much for Nathan, Abby as well, coming and doing the half-time and full-time match post-match analysis. Thank you very much for the people in the comments. Oliver, we've got a new one. Majestic Mac. Love that. Thank you very much for joining us today from Brighton. Mihai, how you doing, Mihai? You're not Semantic FC. How you doing? Big shout out. It always gives us a big shout out. Big shout out to you, mate. Love that. Bradley, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Peter G, thank you very much for joining us. Peter G, how you doing, mate? And obviously, thank you very much to the panel. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, Jerome.
Yep, cheers. Thanks, everyone. Cheers.
All right, thank you very much for joining us tonight, Simon.
Yep, cheers. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much for joining us tonight, Steve.
Yep, thanks, everybody.
And of course, we will be doing when it gets nearer to the time. In fact, I've got this little snazzy thing, and obviously you can do the screenshot. Might as well just pull it up now. It's not my thing. I saw it on the website and I thought we're going to use that. But you get to pick who's guaranteed spot. All right, very good. So let's say guaranteed spot. Who's down here? Who we got?
God,
Saka.
I've got to put my eyes sorted.
Of Arsenal. Bloody hell. Saka.
Guaranteed spot.
No, bruv. Harry Kane, guaranteed spot. That's what we're talking about, guaranteed spots. The captain of the team. What planet are you on? Harry
Come
Kane.
on, it's the end of the show. I'm having a laugh.
Guaranteed spot. All right. Probably get a call up. Guaranteed spot. Jason Bamford, probably staying home. All right. Probably staying home. Probably get a call up on the plane. Now, we're going to play this game later on sometime. I'm sure you'll all enjoy it. Jerome looks engrossed right now.
I didn't see one there that said bin.
Huh?
I didn't see a category that said bin underneath.
No. I think there's only one player amongst that lot to get in the bin. But, yeah. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, the only thing is, like Pickford, I'm not a massive fan of Pickford, but you can't underestimate the importance of experience when it comes to goalkeepers. It's the same as a centre back. Like, even if he's not going to be that number one, I feel you have to have an experienced goalkeeper in the squad. Like, it's just needed. It's just important. Like, none of these other players have even been into a tournament. None of these other players have had more than 3 or 4 caps for England. Like, it's a big risk taking a goalkeeper, that hasn't hardly played. I mean, Scott Carson was a very good goalkeeper when he got into the England team, and he'd had 1 England cap. And it same happened with another England player. I think it's Rob Green. Like no tournament experience, about 2 caps in his whole career. Thrown into a game after David James did bad and had a stinker himself. Like, it's a lot of pressure to put on people straight away, and it's a big ask. It's a big ask. I'm not saying Jordan Pickford should be number 1 goalkeeper, but if they've got no other experienced goalkeepers around the squad, I think it's important that he goes. That's just my opinion.
I think he'd end up being number 1. I'd like it to be Henderson, but I think
if it's going to be Henderson, I think he needs to be in goal in this next game for the rest of the qualifiers, and he gets that shirt, and Pickford has to take it off of him, because you've seen what Pickford could do. You've seen his shortcomings. You've seen what he can do well when he's in the mood. But I think, if you really rate Henderson to be the number 1, then he's got to be playing now. It can't like, you can have all these players in and around the squad, but you know that that Henderson's your number 1. It can't. You haven't got enough time to be making these decisions now. Like, you've got in your mind who you want. Go on.
No, this is the World Cup qualifiers, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we've got to be careful, haven't we?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Because it's happened before. That's all I'm saying. It's happened before. So, reason, like, I still think people were saying, "Oh, give Kane a rest." I don't think you can. I still think you've got to, like, cover yourself. I mean, look. You've only got to go back in history with England. Come on. Yeah.
I think it's only like it would depend who we've got. But I know what you mean. I completely agree. It's I think is it San Marino we've got. I mean, if we've got San Marino, you could probably stick Jerome up top, and yeah, we've got San Marino. I'm not showing that. I'm not saying. I don't know how good you are, Jerome. You could be decent, and like, if you're playing international football, you've got to be decent. I mean, it means you've got a touch at least. But if San Marino, and then after that they've got
Faroe Islands. Are they in?
No, England have got San Marino, Albania, and Poland. Now, Poland's the toughest of the games, but you got to beat Albania and you got to beat San Marino. Do you necessarily need Harry Kane in those? I think you do against Poland. I think you do against Poland.
Not in the other two.
Not in the other two, but yeah. Go on. Yeah, it's
Poland. That will be, that will be tough.
Yeah, it'd be a tough game.
That will be a tough game. I think we played Albania once before. We only beat them 1-0.
But they're a good team. They're a good, hard-working team. I mean, I think France beat them 2-1, 2-0 or 1-0. Yeah, so these up-and-coming teams, they're no mugs anymore. I mean, one thing you're going to get from an Albanian team is work ethic and strong and quick and athletes. I mean, look at Kosovo. When England played Kosovo, I think people would have dismissed Kosovo as a team, and then they're not a bad one. So yeah.
I just want to one thing before we go. Hope you're listening. Good luck to Tom King.
Oh yeah, called up for the Wales team.
For a Welsh team against Belgium and Mexico.
Yeah.
And there was someone else. So hopefully he gets a game. So good luck, Tom.
Yeah, good luck, Tom. Top guest. Love to have you on afterwards, mate. See how you got on. All right. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you very much in the comment section for joining us and everyone who watched the show. Once again, thanks to Richie and Abby and Nathan. Please like and subscribe. And peace out. Hopefully I won't have to say this too long. Stay safe.